Hi guys, Middle Maniac back again. This is gonna be my last video for today. I'm probably gonna upload one or two more tomorrow. Yeah, the upload schedule is gonna be weird for a little bit. Anyway, in this video, I'm gonna be doing a ranking of all the Iron Maiden album art from worst to best. So yeah. So I'm gonna be ranking the Iron Maiden artwork on their albums, their studio albums. Anyway, so first up, number 16, the worst Iron Maiden artwork for an album is, of course, Dance of Death. Like, why? Just why? Like, here's the thing. Everyone knows at this point, like, it's been officially confirmed that the artwork was not actually finished, that Iron Maiden basically pulled the artwork from the artist before he was able to finish it, but there's still no really reason given why. I can only assume it was a time constraint thing, like, maybe the album had to, like, was, the record label wanted it to be released at on a certain day, and we're basically forcing Iron Maiden to get the album out there, even if the album art wasn't complete. I don't know. I'm just speculating with that. But yeah, you can kind of tell the artwork is unfinished. Look at that horrible unfinished CGI. Like, that's just awful. I mean, and not only that, what the hell's going on? Like, I guess some kind of, I mean, it's the title track, the album art said Dance of Death, like, title track, but still, it's just I mean, I guess Eddie looks cool, like, he's the only thing about this album art that's finished. Eddie's finished, but everything else, all the other CGI stuff is really horrible looking. But yeah, it's just really bad, and I really wish Iron Maiden would have let whoever did the artwork finish before they released the album. But yeah, that's the worst. Alright, second worst. Second worst album art by from an Iron Maiden album is The Book of Souls. Now, here's the thing. Eddie looks really cool. I like this version of Eddie. But the background is here's the thing. Album artwork. Both the background and the foreground have to be good. But the fact that even though the foreground's good with this version of Eddie, the background is just plain black background, which does work from time to time. But majority of the time, it doesn't work, and it's just an excuse for the artist to be lazy. And yeah, it's just laziness written all over the blank background, not literally, figuratively. But it's yeah, I mean, really, I'm glad that they went back and had the album re-released with proper background art. Like, I don't have that version yet, but I will at some point. But yeah, they re-released it with actual background art instead of plain stupid black background. But yeah, that's at number 15. Alright. Number 14. Another really bad one. The artwork to The X Factor. This, like I said before, I don't know what's going on here, but it's just bad. Just not as bad as the other ones I just showed you guys, but it's still pretty bad. Like, I'll say this much, at least it has some background instead of just blank nothingness. But the thing that I really hate about this the most is, one, you can't tell what's going on, and two, Eddie looks horrible. Like, that's the worst Eddie ever. Like I said before in one of my other videos, he looks like a hairless monkey on this one. It looks so stupid. And claymation, really? Ugh. And I mean, you can actually tell what's going on in the back. Like, he's in the electric chair, but here, that's no electric chair. What is that? Like, some kind of weird futuristic portrait rack. I don't know, but it's bizarre, and like the artwork, the background is bizarre and weird. You can't really tell what's going on, and Eddie looks horrible. Like, it's just bad. But again, not as bad as the ones I showed before. Let's see. Number 13 is Matter of Life and Death. The main, I mean, it looks pretty good at first glance, but the main issue I have with it is Eddie is in the background. Like, you can barely see him. Like, he's right there. He's the soldier, but you can't really tell that's him. But I don't know what they were thinking. Like, seriously, Eddie has always been front and center on their album art. On their album art, their single art, and their compilation album. Like, every time Iron Maiden has had artwork for anything, Eddie has always been front and center, as he should be. But here, he's just there in the background, and you can't even tell it's him. It's just really dumb. I mean, I do kind of like the skeleton soldiers in the foreground, in the tank, but I mean, I don't know. It's not Iron Maiden artwork unless Eddie's front and center. But yeah. Alright, number 12 is No Prayer for the Dying. This artwork is meh. Like, here's the thing. I think it could have been better. I mean, I don't think it's horrible, but I do think it could have been way, way, way better. Like, this is supposed to be, I guess, the version of Eddie from the first album and from the single artworks from the first album. But he just looks too different. Like, his eyes are not the same eyes as the Eddie on the original artworks. Like, the original, like, singles and then the first album. Like, his eyes on those were just, like, completely different. They were, white rims, but, like, black, tiny black pupils. Whereas Eddie around this time, his eyes were basically white glowy pupils, but like pure white glowy balls of energy or whatever. But instead of like the pupil looking things, they were just the white balls of energy with lightning around them, as you can see here. And that would continue on with a lot of their albums. And then I don't know. It just Eddie looks off. Like he's supposed to look like Eddie from the original album and from the singles from that album, but something's wrong about him. Like it doesn't look quite right. And the color shading is pretty dull too. Like it's just a blue with a kind of a bright tan over the lit section with Eddie, and I don't know. It's just very dull overall. But it's meh. Not terrible, but not great. Alright, next up, what was number 12? Number 11 is Virtual 11. While the album is abysmal and the worst album of all time, the artwork is actually pretty okay. Like, I don't like the Eddie. I don't like the Eddie on the artwork, but everything else kind of looks pretty cool. Like, I like how there's like a guy in a virtual reality headset in like a sunny field, but like, I guess it's supposed to be like some kind of alternate dimension or something that's opening up behind him, and then it's just like a giant some kind of version of Eddie, but like there's like a city, but it's on fire and just is all burning, and then like you can see there's people burning there too, like some kind of like alternate hellscape that's just opening up from like some kind of portal or something. And then in the back, you can see more of that too. But yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's pretty okay. Like, it's not terrible. It's not meh. It's just okay. Although I do wish they had a better version of Eddie. But yeah. Next up, hold on. Let me recount. I kind of lost track. 14, 13, 12, 11. Okay, no, that's 11. Alright, number 10. Number 10 is the artwork for Brave New World. I'm half and half about this. Like, I love the color scheme. I love the different shades of blue I like the different shades of blue and then the shade of white. Like, I love how it's like dark blue, light blue, mid-colored blue, and then the white as the like the rim of the sky right here. I love Eddie in the clouds, but what I think kind of sets this album off a little bit for me is the clear mix of CGI and hand drawn art. Like, you could tell the hand drawn art was Eddie in the clouds, but the CGI was the city underneath, and it just looks weird put together. I mean, I don't know. It's okay, but I mean, the main thing that I do like about this artwork is the color scheme. And but yeah, overall it's okay. A high, pretty much a mid to high tier okay. All right, number 9. I think I'm on number 9 now. Number 9 is Peace of Mind album art. Yeah, it's definitely at least in my opinion, it's the worst album art of the original '80s albums. But here's the thing: this is one of those album arts where if you're just looking at the front, you're not looking at the whole artwork because it continues on the back. So I think, even on the back though, like it's just the continuation of the petted cell, the door opening to a sky. But it's just sort of meh. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, I like the color scheme though. The original color scheme. This is the original color scheme. You have brown. That's the browns, and then the slight sort of tans. And I don't know. I like the color scheme, but overall, it's just barren and sort of meh. And this version of Eddie is definitely my least favorite of Eddie from the '80s. But it's not. I mean, it's okay, but definitely is lacking in a lot of places. Anyway, that's at number 9, I think. I've already lost track again. At number 8, is the artwork for Somewhere in Time. This one is good, but the main downside about this album art is the fact that it's too cluttered with references. Like, it's super, super cluttered. Like, maybe if it wasn't so cluttered, I think it would. Oh, and also, look, it's even more cluttered when you look at the full artwork. Like, it's just all over the place. I mean, it's okay at first glance, but when you're really trying to look for a lot of details in it, it's just very, very cluttered and very, like, hard on your eyes to, like, squint, sort of, like, try to make out where all the references are and stuff. Like, it's just very aggravating at times to look at. But, it's okay. I mean, it's definitely a high tier okay. Um, I mean, I love the version of Eddie on here, Cyborg Eddie. He looks pretty cool, and I love the references. It's just, it could have been a lot less cluttered. I don't know. It's a high tier okay. All right, at I think I'm at number 7 now. Anyway, number 7. Number 7 is the album art for Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. Heh, the album art is at number 7, and it's Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. Neat. This one is good. This one is definitely a low premier tier. I was gonna hiccup. Anyway, sorry about that. It's a sort of a low to mid tier good. Like, it's definitely one of the lesser album artworks from the '80s, but it's still it's not bad. Like, I do enjoy it when when you open it up like this and it's the full artwork. Like, on the front, of course, there's Eddie. I know this is probably the weirdest version of Eddie. I think, like, the weirdest one I've seen. I don't know. I haven't seen every single artwork or every single compilation album artwork or every single live album artwork, but I have seen every single. Of course, because I have all the studio albums. I have seen all the studio album artworks of Eddie, and this one is definitely the weirdest. He's just sort of a floating torso with his skull, like his scalp is removed and his brain is on fire and he's holding his heart or something. I don't know. He looks very odd. I mean, he is kind of cool, but it's just bizarre. Just, I don't know. It feels kind of trippy in a way. but I love the background. The main thing I love about this artwork is the background. Like, it's just sort of a lake or an ocean with, like, icebergs around it. You look at the front, and it's like, okay, that's pretty good. But then you look at the back, and it's even better. Like, you can see, like, iceberg formations, but it's, like, some different versions of Eddie that were previous to this album. Like, there's the Powerslave Eddie, there's the Number of the Beast Eddie in the background, there's, I can't remember which version of Eddie this is. I think that's supposed to be Peace of Mind Eddie, and then some other version of Eddie back there that I can't make out what they are. And then there's like a giant book here for some reason. I don't know. But yeah, it's just really cool. The back is definitely a lot my favorite part. I mean, the front's pretty cool, but the back is really awesome. But yeah, that's definitely a low to mid tier good. All right. Here we go. Number 16, 15, 14, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. Number 6 is the artwork for Fear of the Dark. Now, this is not a continuous album art. Like, it does not continue on the back. But it doesn't need that. Like, it's pretty good. Like, it's pretty good, just as a front art. This is not a Derek Riggs artwork, by the way. This is somebody else. But Eddie, like, you would think the simple, weird concept of Eddie as a deformed tree is kind of like lame. But then you look at the artwork and it's like, holy crap, that's cool. And yeah, although it's kind of hard to tell whether Eddie is just like a bizarre tree formation or he's actually sentient and he's just sort of like some tree spirit or something. It's just really cool. Like, the album art is what sells it for me. Like, here's the thing. I saw the album artwork ever before I listened to the full album, or even before I listened to the song Fear of the Dark. And I just looked at that album artwork and was like, I have to listen to this title track. And, like, again, the album art was what drew me into the title track. And then eventually the rest of the album. But it's really cool. And this is like the only... Okay, this is very odd, but it's like the only time where Iron Maiden's logo is sideways on an album. Like, usually it's up top, but here it's like sideways on the spine, near the spine, and it's just sort of odd. I don't know, I think it's pretty cool looking. Yeah, that's at number 6, I think. Let's see. Number 5 is the artwork for their first album. It's a lot less compared to a lot of the albums, but it's still pretty good. So at the time, I guess Derek Riggs was his specialty of his artworks that he did at the time. He specialized in putting like monsters in modern environments, and I love that concept. I love having like the unnatural in an environment that's natural. Like, I love that concept. It looked really, really cool too. Like, just imagine like going back in like the early '80s, walking down the cobblestone streets with bright fluorescent street lamps in like a sort of a suburb slash like in the outskirts of a town, and just like all of a sudden stumbling across this figure, like looking at it, and it looks into you, and you're just sort of stunned staring at it. It just sort of slowly just like jerks and walks away, like it's sort of like jerky movement or something like that. It's just so creepy, but so cool. Like, I love it. But yeah, that's at number 5. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I'm losing track. I'm so sorry about that. But yeah, this is just awesome. Like, this is from here on out. These album artworks are just amazing. All right. Next up, number 5 one. Yeah, that's a number 5. Number 4 is the artwork for Killers. This is even better than the artwork for their first album. Like, yeah, the artwork for the first album is really awesome, but this is even more awesome. Like, Eddie as the killer from the song Killers. Like, look at that. Look at that. That's just amazing. Like, I love how, like, there's like there's like a guy right there. He's cut off at the bottom, but like he's grabbing on for dear life. I guess he's just like begging and pleading for mercy. But Eddie's not having that. He's just like, I'm gonna kill you, and you're gonna deal with it. Duh. Yeah, it's just Eddie looks so sinister in this artwork. Like this is like the first artwork where Eddie's look was like less realistic corpse like and more streamlined looking. And it's still really, really good. Like I love the glow of the street lamp uh cascading on Eddie's face and shirt. Like that's awesome. And I love how that detail was captured on the NECA Killer's Eddie action figure. And it's just so cool. I love the shading. I love it. I love like even like Eddie's white hair. He usually is depicted with white hair, but because like the yellow glow of the street lamps reflecting on it, it looks sort of yellow and silver combined. It looks so cool. And then there's killers in the sort of a blood splattered type wording. And then the background is pretty cool too. Like there's the city. I guess it looks like the same city as on the first album, and I love that. I love continuity, and I love like the glow of the lights inside the buildings. It's like red and green, and then on the you can't really see it there. It's like really hidden, but like there's a sign that says the Ruskin Arms, and that's a reference for those who love early Iron Maiden. You would know, you guys will know that that's like the first place they ever played at before, even before releasing albums. That was like the very first sort of. That's where they got big. Like that's where they started, and I love it. But yeah, that's at number 4. Yeah, that's at number 4. Um, Number 3 is the artwork for Powerslave. This is one that does continue on the back, sort of. Like, it's not the same. It's not like a continuation of this in a way that it's like this, but also the same exact place as that. Instead of that, it's kind of like the pyramid, but then inside of the pyramid. But yeah, it's really, really cool. Definitely the arc is what draws you in. Like, here's the thing. Sorry, I trying to not hiccup in the video because I'm trying to talk. Anyway, um, I love like history, world history, especially ancient history, and especially stuff to do with ancient Egypt. Like I took ancient history, world history class, like every single year of high school. Like and just because I loved it so much, and I really my favorite part, of course, was when the teacher talked about ancient Egypt, and this is just awesome. I love how Eddie's basically the pharaoh. Like he traveled back in time and took over. Like that's just amazing. And then like I just love it. Like, look at that. That's so epic looking. Even though I don't like the flashiness that much of the actual songs in the album, well, most of them anyway, the flashiness of the album artwork is just awesome. I love how like the top of the pyramid is radiating energy, and then like it's there's like a lot of electricity around it, like a lot of lightning or something. I love it. And then on the back, it's the inside of the pyramid, and then there's coffin with Eddie's face on it. It's awesome. All right, number 2. Number 2 was the album artwork for The Final Frontier. I love this artwork. Yeah, a lot of people don't really like this version of Eddie. They just say, "Oh, that's not Eddie. He's not Eddie, and he's not the humanoid zombie thing we all know and love." Well, here's the thing. Eddie has many different shapes and forms. Like, this isn't the first time Eddie's been something else other than, like, a zombie. Like, or I should say ghoul. Eddie's more of a ghoul than a zombie, but that's a topic for another completely different video. But anyway, what was another one? I don't know. Eddie's been a few different things. Like, he's been a tree. Eddie's been a tree. But to say that this isn't Eddie just because he's a monster and not like a space monster and not a ghoul, that's just crazy talk. Like that's just bullshit because Eddie can be anything he wants to. You know, like it's just it's Eddie. It definitely is. Like to prove my point that this is and always has been supposed to be Eddie. Like, I'll take out the pamphlet. Like, in the pamphlet for this, there's alternative artworks that I guess were like just tests to see which artwork they like the best. But hold on, it's in the back. There we go. As you can see, like, yeah, most of it is this Eddie on the front, but there's this one, I don't know if you could tell very well, but like, there's this alien thing, and then there's Eddie, like, that's Eddie, like, I don't know if you can see it because of the glare, but that is the, like, normal, kind of normal version of Eddie, where he is a ghoul, but he's, like, right there, but that, yeah, see, that is Eddie right here, but I guess all these are supposed to be Eddie too, so yeah, that's my point. Where yeah, he might have not always wasn't always as it wasn't always envisioned as the Beast, as Space Beast on the front for this album, but you could like, but that just proves that this is like, no, there we go. Yeah, that is Eddie, just in a different form. And I love the just the texture of the artwork. Oh, hold on, that's not put in right. There we go. I love the texture of the artwork. Like, it looks like something from a comic book from like the early or mid '90s, like some kind of awesome sci-fi '90s comic book. Like, it just is so amazing. Like, look, and I love the coloration too, like the blues, the blacks, the greens and reds. Like, it's just so good. Very, very good. Like, oh, and for those of you who have always been wondering why this version of Eddie looks so beat up, why he looks so like just like torn to pieces almost, like he's just all bloody and stuff, and like a lot of his flesh is gone. Watch the music video to the Final Frontier song, and you'll see. Like, I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but just watch the music video to the Final Frontier. You'll find out why. But yeah, and I love one thing I didn't notice for quite some time was this: the astronauts are not human. Look at those skulls. Look at the skulls. They have fangs and sort of like protruding teeth from their chin, like not chin, their cheeks. Like, those are not human astronauts. They're really cool. I don't know why it took me so long to notice that they're not human. But yeah, and then like there's some awesome sort of like designs on the spine there. And then the back is just like space and like a planet up above there. And then I love the disc too. And then the back of the pamphlet. But yeah, it's just a great artwork. And I love the logo too. And the only thing I don't like about the newer logos up until Book of Souls is the fact that they cut off the spikes on the bottoms of certain letters. But I love the coloration. Like, I love how it starts off with this sort of dark, rusty red, and then it gets less rusty and more of the traditional red color as it goes on. The words are starting to rust. But yeah, amazing cover art. That's why it's number 2. Number 1 is, I'm pretty sure you guys saw this coming, but number 1, in my opinion, the best album artwork by Iron Maiden is the original Number of the Beast album artwork that was from 1982 to 1995. Like, after 95 again, they ruined it. But up until then, this was just amazing album artwork. Like, look at that. Look at that. That's badass right there. Eddie sort of like controlling the devil, like sort of puppeteering him like he's some sort of marionette. And the hellscape on the bottom. And this version you can't really tell, but on the bottom, like, it's cut off, but you could kind of see it on the newer version, like right. I don't know. Let me get this closer to the camera, but I don't know if you can see it, like right in which corner is it? I think it's this corner. Yeah, right there. You can see there's a xenomorph from the movie Alien. Like, right there. I don't know if you can see it. I'm pointing to it, but I don't know if you can see it on the camera. But right there, there's a xenomorph there. Like, that's a cool Easter egg. I guess Iron Maiden were a fan of the Alien movies. Like, there were only two. No, there was only one at the time, the first one. So I guess they were a fan of the first Alien movie. It's kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, this artwork is just brilliant, and like I've said before, originally this is not supposed to be an album art. This was supposed to be the artwork for the single of Purgatory. But then Ron Smallwood was like, "No, that's too good. Leave it for another album. Leave it for an album." And it's just amazing. Look at the bright colors. Like, you would think it'd be look more sinister with dark colors, but honestly, nah, it just looks weird. I love the bright blue and the bright red and like 100-foot tall Eddie. He's holding fire in one hand. He's holding hellfire in one hand and like puppeteering the devil like a marionette with the other hand. And then the number of the beast is in blood, like almost looks like it's smeared in blood. And then the background is just Iron Maiden trapped in the pits of hell, trying to figure out a way out, I guess. And then like Bruce Dickinson is like sort of like looking like with a torch, and he's like pointing like it almost seems like that they're like at the edge of where this is. Like Bruce is like almost like it looks like he's like if you put that side by side with this, it almost seems like he would be pointing like, oh my god, look at that 100-foot tall Eddie. But yeah, it's really cool, and I love it. It's definitely the best album art, like the best Iron Maiden album art of all time. But yeah, so that was my ranking of the Iron Maiden album artworks from worst to best. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. And I might do one video. I might record one more video after coming back from work later tonight. It just depends what happens. So, yeah. I'll see you guys next time, and peace out. New intro or outro. I don't know. I'm just meh. Anyway.